The desert wind doesn't knock politely in Mecca. It enters like a warning. It slides through narrow streets, rattles old wooden doors, and climbs the sacred steps of the Kaaba, where gods made of stone stare into the night. 360 idols. One for every fear. One for every excuse. They told themselves, we only worship these so they bring us closer to the one above. But the city's heart wasn't closer. It was quieter and colder, like something human had been buried beneath the sand. And tonight, something is waking up. Not an idol. Not a tribe. Not a king. A question. A question so sharp, it can cut through stone. By morning, Mecca looks alive, loud, wealthy, unstoppable. The market roars with bargaining voices. Camel bells ring like restless metal. Spices burn the air, cinnamon, frankincense, leather, dust. But listen closely, and you'll hear something else. Pride that doesn't sleep. Pride that walks with its chin raised and its mercy hidden. In this city, lineage is armor. Poetry is a weapon. And kindness. Kindness is often treated like weakness. And above the noise, the idols watch. Silent judges who never stop anyone from doing wrong. Because they were never meant to stop anything. They were meant to be blamed. So men could keep doing what they wanted. My name is Zaid. Not the famous one from later days. Just a young courier with quick feet, and a habit of noticing what others ignore. When you run messages for merchants and elders, you learn two kinds of truth. The truth people shout. And the truth they whisper only when they think the walls cannot hear. And lately, Mecca has been whispering one sentence more than any other. There is a secret the idols cannot hear. Some say it's hidden inside the Kaaba. Others say it's buried beneath the city. But the most dangerous rumor of all is that the secret is walking among us. A truth too clean for a city like this. In Mecca, not every cry is welcomed. Some families celebrate sons like victories. And treat daughters like burdens they want to bury out of sight. I won't tell you what I saw in detail. History already carries enough shame. But I will tell you this. When a society begins to fear its own children, it is not strength. It is sickness. Years later, Revelation would ask a question so haunting it makes the desert go silent. And when the girl who was buried alive is asked, for what sin was she killed? Back then, I didn't understand that question. I only knew the city had learned how to silence its conscience. At the center of everything stands the Kaaba. Built for worship of one, now surrounded by many. Idols crowd the sacred space like a courtroom of stone. Some are tall, polished, and decorated. Some are chipped and ancient, carried through generations like inherited excuses. Each idol has a story. And behind each idol is a tribe. A tribe that won't let its god fall. Because that would mean admitting they were wrong. Mecca doesn't just sell goods. Mecca sells permission. Permission to keep your idol. Permission to keep your pride. Permission to keep your power. Tribes rule like small kingdoms. A man's protection is his clan. A stranger's blood can be cheap.
Madness! You would risk everything for this! It is not a risk, it is our future!
And when disputes rise, the city doesn't always ask what is right.
The truth is greater
It asks
than your
who is strong. But I had started hearing of a different kind of strength. Quiet strength. The kind that doesn't shout, yet somehow is heard. A man known for truthfulness. A man who didn't cheat customers, didn't betray trust, didn't bow to stone. Even the people drowning in idols respected one name. Al-Amin. The trustworthy. At night, Mecca becomes two cities. One city of drums and boasting. A city of wine and loud laughter that tries to drown out guilt. And another city. A city of whispers. I delivered a message to an elder who didn't bow to idols. He didn't insult them. He didn't argue in public. He simply refused. He said, Zayd, the world has done this before. Truth buried under tradition. Then he leaned closer and murmured. Something is coming that will shake every idol, until stone can no longer pretend to be alive. That same week, the desert wind changed. It began to sound like a warning passing through empty stone mouths. Torches flickered when there was no breeze. Dogs barked at corners with nothing in them. And in the silence before dawn, I stood near the Kaaba and wondered. What if Mecca's idols are not angry? What if they are afraid? Because when truth approaches, falsehood doesn't just resist. It panics. And Mecca was beginning to feel like a man who hears footsteps behind him. And pretends he doesn't. People said Al-Amin never lied. Never cheated. Never broke a trust. That sounds small, until you realize how rare it is. In a world where deception is profit. The same men who bowed to idols, trusted him with their money. They trusted him with their caravans. They trusted him with their secrets. But they refused to trust him with their hearts. Because the heart is where idols truly live. Not in the Kaaba. Not on a pedestal. In the stubborn place inside a man that says, I will not change, even if the truth stands in front of me. Caravans brought more than goods. They brought stories. Maps scratched into leather. Names of distant lands. Rumors traded like coin. I heard travelers speak of old prophets. Of voices calling people away from darkness toward one God. Of truth returning after long nights. And some spoke, carefully, as if the sand itself could report them. Of a final message that would not stay hidden. Mecca laughed at those stories in public. But in private, Mecca listened. Because deep down, even the proudest city knows. A storm does not ask permission before it arrives. One evening, I returned to the sanctuary, and something felt wrong. The ring of idols felt tighter. Not because more stone had been added. But because the air felt heavier, like the city was holding its breath. A place built for one had become crowded with many. And when a place meant for truth becomes crowded, it begins to suffocate. I watched pilgrims circle, offering prayers to stone. And I wondered how long a lie can live. when even the wind no longer sounds convinced. At last, the elder told me what he meant. The secret isn't inside the Kaaba, he said. It's above it. He pointed beyond the city, toward the mountains. Toward the dark silhouette of Jabal al-Nur. There is a man, the elder whispered, who climbs into solitude, searching for the truth Mecca buried. My throat tightened. Because every thriller has a moment when you realize the monster isn't a creature. It's the old world, about to be exposed. Mecca's leaders didn't fear poverty. They feared change. They didn't fear war. They feared losing control. So when whispers grew stronger, when people began questioning idols, you could feel the city's powerful men sharpening their pride like blades. A quiet violence. A patience that waits for permission to strike. Because if truth arrived, it would not ask permission from tribes. It would not bow to status. It would not negotiate with idols. I returned one last time to the Kaaba at night. The idols stood exactly where they always stood. Silent. Heavy. Certain. And yet, for the first time, they looked temporary. Like props waiting to be removed when the Real story begins. I placed my palm on cool stone. And I whispered, not to the idol, but to the silence behind it. If the truth is coming, let it come. The wind answered by extinguishing a torch nearby. And for one heartbeat, the sanctuary went dark. Mecca slept, thinking it owned the Kaaba, the market, the tribes, the future. But the desert has a rule. What is built on falsehood may stand for a long time. Yet it falls faster than anyone expects. And somewhere beyond the city, in a mountain cave, a moment was approaching. A moment that would split history into before and after. A moment that would make stone idols feel like dust. So if you want the next chapter, the night of the mountain, the silence of the cave, and the beginning of a message that would change the world, subscribe. Because the storm is about to speak.